Hi, everyone, and welcome to the
Non-Binary
Non-Binary Couple
Couple
Series. I'm Lorenzo.
And I'm Barry.
And I'm non-binary.
Me too.
And we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Today we're going to talk about how we integrated our lives together, going from dating to becoming a family.
A family. Aw. Yeah. Welcome to episode 4 of this multi-part series. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, please go do that now, and then you'll be all caught up. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about all the things today. Where do we want to start?
Well, let's start at Juniper's adoption.
Juniper Ivy Rose, the apple of our eye.
Our sweet, sweet dear kitty. So how did that all start?
Yeah, so as you all know, I had a cat named Mouse. Mouse died in
R.I.P.
December of 2022. And I knew that I wanted to get a new cat at some point, but I was still grieving the loss of Mouse. But there was this one day in September where I woke up that Sunday morning and said to Barry, "Today is the day."
September 10th, 2023. Lorenzo comes in. I am ready to adopt. And I am on board immediately.
Surprisingly and shockingly, Barry was like, "Okay."
When
sure.
am I not on board?
So we went to the rescue shelter. We looked at a bunch of different cats that were there. And this one stood out to us. Her adoption name was, do you remember what her name was?
Yeah, ponderance, because she always had this pondering look about her. She had a bare bum. She was so skinny.
She was a skinny Benny.
They said she had allergies.
Yeah. So when we first got her, I feel like she was around a year old or so. She was still smaller than the other cats, but still had some growing to do physically. And yeah, we brought her home that day. It was a really special moment, but we immediately came into some issues with Juniper. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, she was just having diarrhea left and right all the time. She was a stinky mess.
Poor thing was struggling. We had to try out so many different foods to see what she could handle.
Yeah, those were her allergies, as I mentioned earlier. They didn't mention exactly that she was just allergic to so many different foods. Which, yeah, I can kind of relate to. But so she'd have intolerances. So it took months and months to figure out what she could actually eat and not have diarrhea.
Yeah, I feel like it actually took 6 full months, but we were trying to figure out the basics at this point when we had just adopted her. Oh.
And also, she was super skittish and shy, which she's not today.
Yeah. Let's bring her on camera for a second.
Oh, there she is. So
clean. She was preparing herself for her special moment. Yeah, Juniper.
This is a few years of love, what that'll do to you. She looks healthy. She's no longer having poop issues. Anyway, what happened after that?
Yeah, so after we adopted Juniper in September, I was preparing for a half marathon. Do you want to be done now, or?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you in.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Come back soon. Yeah, so I had not really done much running previous to this half marathon. I didn't do any exercise really in grad school except for walking. And I had always wanted to be a runner, but struggled to figure out how to do that. And maybe that could be an episode for another time where we
our running journey.
Yeah, so we'll save that, put a pin in that for another episode. But as I was preparing for this half marathon, I started about a year prior. And at that time, when I started running, I had severe asthma as well, which I eventually healed through this process, which was amazing. And now I don't suffer from that at all.
You were doing some weird things like a spoonful of garlic and honey
before
running for your asthma.
At the beginning of trying to manage the asthma, I was doing honey, banana, cinnamon, garlic, some weird concoction that was supposed to help open the lungs or kind of help with phlegm or something. I don't even know, but that phase ended. And as I was preparing for the half marathon, I was really excited because this is a really famous course in Columbus here. And I had watched the runners for years, and I always wanted to participate in it. It's at a beautiful time of year. It's a beautiful course here in downtown Columbus. I had romanticized it, and I was so excited to run my first half marathon. And that race just felt incredible. It felt like I was flying. And my favorite part of the race was running into you. Where were you?
Well, yeah, I knew this was a very special day for you, and you actually got me into running as well. But at this time, I couldn't run because I was experiencing EBV, which we didn't know that that's what it was. I thought it was something with my thyroid. Anyway, a bunch of health issues. So I was there with.
Yeah, where were you?
Midway, I met you on the course at this designated spot, and I was writing this letter to you.
Yeah.
And you gave me a hug midway. Yeah. And then at which point I went home to prepare to see you at the finish line.
Yeah. And so basically when I saw Barry at this 8-mile mark, it was the exciting moment for me. And I felt so good about the run at that moment that I didn't even mind like pausing to give Barry a hug because I was running a PR race at that point.
I felt like it was like giving you extra juice.
Yeah.
I got these teal balloons for you and your favorite ice cream.
And teal is my favorite color, which is why you
that's why I got them.
Color.
And also I had this written letter for you at the finish line.
Yeah, the letter was so sweet. It was truly an actual surprise. I remember sharing with Barry, this is what I'd like from this day. Like, I do want it to feel special. And sometimes it's important to assert what you want so that you have clear expectations for something.
You asserted what you wanted, but you didn't say exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So I filled in the blanks and tried to make it as special as possible because I think it is good to culminate these events with something special.
Yeah. And it really was an incredible moment. And I'm grateful that I spoke up and said, like, hey, I just really want this day to be special. Because I knew that if I didn't say anything and then my expectations were not met, but I hadn't shared what my expectations were, then that's not Barry's fault. So I'm glad that I said something, and yeah, it was a super special day. They got this ice cream for me, which I wasn't expecting at all, and yeah, smile on my face. The race went so well. I was faster than I hoped to be. It was a great time overall.
Yeah, that was your first half marathon ever.
Yes, and we did run another one, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so you were struggling with EBV this whole time.
I mean, EBV lasts about 6 months.
What even is EBV for people who don't know?
It's reactivated mono. So basically, mono stays with you for your whole life if you've ever had it. Mm-hmm. But if you go through periods of stress or something, it can get reactivated in your body. And it's not something you can necessarily catch. Right. It's just activated, and then it lasts for about 6 months. Ugh. So my HRV plummeted. It was so low. I was extremely tired. I would eat something, and then my face would just break out into this red. Mm-hmm. Like every single thing I ate, we had to track. It was just a mess, and I kept doing blood tests. And that lasted a while.
And we didn't actually diagnose it fully until February.
And this was October.
Yeah, we'll get to the February conversation a little bit later in this episode. And then actually, I ended up getting EBV later on too. So we'll share that at a later time. But yeah, so that was the half marathon experience. And I truly did have this come down effect. Like, I felt depressed for the next week or so because I was grieving the loss of having finished and completed this thing. But I could not dwell on those feelings for too long because 2 weeks after the half marathon finished, Barry and I were about to move in together. So why did we decide to move in together? What was that all about? What was our process? What was our journey?
I mean, we were living in the same apartment complex on different floors, but I was basically at your apartment all the time. So we wanted to live together in a potentially nicer place that was bigger because we were in a studio apartment.
Both of us.
With our cat.
Yeah.
So it was really crammed.
Yeah, that last week before we ended up moving, we had gotten a couple pieces of furniture and were accumulating a few things. Barry's stuff had come down, and we had like a foot of walking space in between the bed and the table. And I remember both of us were struggling with just mental health of feeling like we were in this closet. All three of us crammed in this tiny, tiny space. But yeah, how did we find our apartment, and why did we pick the one that we picked?
Well, we actually found it in June. We looked at different places, but ultimately decided we wanted to live in the same neighborhood because we loved our neighborhood. Yeah. But this was a new apartment complex that we saw and we walked by every day. So we just checked it out and we looked at 3 places. But when we looked at this one, we immediately looked at each other and thought, this is the one. Like we mutually agreed. So that was it. But we still had to go through our lease. So our lease wasn't up till October or something like that. Yeah. So we signed the lease here in June, and then we had to wait months and months before actually moving.
So we would take walks by the house and say hello almost every day. We would say, hi, we're so excited to move in soon, can't wait. We were truly elated, like so excited. And yeah, move-in day was less stressful than I thought it was going to be. We got movers, which was really helpful. And it's only like a 2-minute walk from where we were living before. So that made life very easy. And I just remember it felt like we were moving into this luxurious space, even though I feel like a lot of the things in the apartment are more just standard. But up until now, like both of us have sort of been living in situations that we would describe as this'll do.
Like the cheapest, just the cheapest scenario we could possibly find. That's always what I looked for in an apartment. Like the least expensive. I've had cockroaches, really old spaces, like mold. Yeah. I mean, it's good for a certain time in your life, and I loved those spaces. Yeah. And you loved your apartment. So they served definitely a special time in our life, but we wanted something
to grow
fresh.
into.
Yeah, fresh that we could both be in together. And this felt like a step up. It felt like, can we even do this? Like, are we the type of people that can live in this space? And we had to become those people that live here.
Yeah, we both really wanted it. And I was definitely going through these feelings of worry that, is this like too much for us? Is this space going to be too nice I don't even know what the things were, but the idea of like allowing yourself to take a risk sometimes and grow into something. And sometimes you'll even grow out of that and get even bigger. So we were trying to raise our life condition and step into the next level and the next chapter of our life by moving and kind of embracing the idea of becoming the people that we want to be. So some of the things, for example, that we were excited about were that there was a washer and dryer in the apartment.
That's a huge deal.
Which seems like a basic thing, but both of us were used to communal washer dryers in a basement, some like grimy, dark basement where you put quarters in. And that just the fact that it was in our apartment was crazy. And I also love kitchens. The former place that I lived in, the kitchen was like 4 feet by 5 feet, like in a closet. And the kitchen is my domain. It's so important to me. And this new kitchen in our house is beautiful. So many countertops. It overlooks the garden with these amazing trees. The view is incredible. It just, it sings to my heart. So those are the 2 things.
It sings
yeah.
to your heart.
Those are the 2 things that I was like, whoa. What were some other things?
I needed a bathtub. We looked at a place without a bathtub, and it was non-negotiable. We have to have a bathtub.
The negotiables, that was, now that I'm thinking about that, yeah, your non-negotiable was the bathtub. My non-negotiable was the view of the garden, not a view of a parking lot. The garden view was like it for me, as well as the kitchen. But yeah, those are the things that were important for both of us. Right. But this space also had a gym, and both of us used that gym every day.
And a rooftop.
rooftop and a lounge, and it's actually right next to the local main library where we were working previously. So the location is perfect for lots of different places that we can be working as content creators.
So we are thankful every single day. We love our apartment, and we're both home bodies, so it just works perfectly.
Yeah.
So we are settling in right to our new space, love and life, and then we have a trip to LA, right?
Yeah, so we had 2 weeks from the half marathon to when we moved, and then we had 2 weeks from when we moved to going to LA. So we were trying to settle in the house as quickly as possible because we were about to pack up and take Juniper on this trip out west.
Oh, Juniper's first trip west.
First trip on a plane, which went really well.
Yeah, and since then we've traveled a lot with Juniper, but this is our first thing together, which, yeah, that was amazing. To kind of a new family adventure.
Family adventure.
So we went to LA. It was at Thanksgiving. We visited my dad in the hospital.
Yep.
Brought him some fish fillets.
He loves fish fillets.
He did.
Yeah. And we went to see the Hollywood sign. We got to spend time with the family. I met some extended family since it was a holiday. And it was nice to just have a change of pace, be in California during like a colder season and do some running. But that was the trip that Barry and I looked at each other and said, we're going to need to come back, I think, a little bit more regularly this year. Mm-hmm. Why did we make that decision overall?
Basically because my dad was on that decline, and I just wanted to be able to see him a little bit more frequently prior to his death. prior to when he kicked the bucket.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
And helping out the family.
And we wanted to help out the family. We decided that we were going to do a makeover on the garage on our next trip. So we booked our February trip while we were in LA in November.
Yep. And then we spent the winter months here in Columbus, Ohio. Nothing crazy to report on there.
Well, it was our first Christmas together.
Yeah.
Our first New Year together.
That's true. We did have some firsts, which were fun memories. But yeah, so then February, we packed back up, came back to California, and there was one big mission that we had on that February trip, which was to clean out that garage. But there was a positive, let's say, silver lining or carrot at the end of the tunnel. What was that for us?
Oh, that we were going to make a satellite studio so basically a studio that we could work from while we were in California.
Yep.
So we built a dual purpose studio / art studio for my mom / just cleaned the whole environment, which took a full week. This is years and years of accumulated stuff. I have actually a vlog of it. Maybe we can link that.
Yeah. If anyone wants to see the craziness.
It's a crazy transformation.
Yeah, we were working like 9 to 5 for a full week, both of us, to just clean out the garage. So it was fun, though. I love those kinds of projects. I love clean out projects, makeovers, organizational projects. It was my
wheelhouse,
you might say. Yep. So we ended up creating the studio, which was really amazing. Spent some time with your family. Got to see your dad.
My mom was so happy about that garage. She told all her friends for weeks and weeks.
Yeah. Anyway.
And
then we ended up going back to California again in May. But we will share a little bit of that May trip in the next episode. The next chapter of this series was actually one of the most special, exciting chapters. So much happened, and it's one of my favorites, actually. So I'm excited to get into next time. What are some of the things that we're going to talk about in the next episode?
We're going to talk about a lot of travel to different places outside of California. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about our engagement.
We got engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, our rings.
And we'll talk about career expansion, major career expansion.
Yeah, major career expansion that happened over the spring and summer and fall of this past year. So I'm very excited for that next episode. I hope you all will be with us to watch that one as well. And yeah, anything else you want to say before we conclude?
Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you so much. Please like, comment, share this with your friends, and follow my channel as well.
Yeah, go follow Barry over on their channel. We will see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.